Hi everyone, my name is Duplechin and I'm the owner of Acadiana Appraisals and Consulting. Today we're going to go over the Residential Appraisal Report form. It's often referred to as the Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac form or the 1004 form. This is often used in mortgage lending transactions. Mortgage lenders use it whether it's for FHA, VA, rural development, or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conventional loans. This form has been developed and it has a lot of information packed into the report, but oftentimes it's hard for people who aren't regularly intended users of the report to read over and understand that information. A lot of that has to do with some of the abbreviations that are used within the report and just not knowing where to find certain information within the report. So we're going to kind of do a large overview of where to find the different sections of the report, and in other videos that will follow this one, we'll kind of dive into each of the individual sections and show you what information is actually included in that report. So it's important not just for lenders to understand this report, because this helps them analyze the amount of risk they're willing to take on with a given property so that they know what the value is. But it's also important for buyers and sellers to understand what information is included in the report and how the appraiser actually arrived at that opinion of value. So lots of information is in the report. It can be difficult to find, so we'll go over some of the big sections so that you know where to look for certain things within the report. So let's go to the report and start looking at those different sections. So we're going to start on page 1. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you have these tabs that are highlighted in dark blue with white lettering. Those are specific sections on the page that can kind of help you identify where certain information is. So on the left-hand side, we have the subject, as well as the contract section, followed by the neighborhood and site sections, and then finally we have the improvements section. The improvements section is when it talks about the actual house that's constructed on the property, as well as any other improvements such as a guest house, a workshop, a pool, or anything else like that. If we go to page 2 of the URAR, this is the sales comparison grid. So on the left-hand side, you'll have the subject property, followed by the comparables that are used in the report to support the value based on this approach. If there are any additional comparables that are used, it's a little confusing because the Fannie Mae form has a pre-printed 6 pages that have to come in a specific order. The comparables 4, 5, and 6 are not on the page that immediately follows the first sales grid. So you'd have to scroll down either to one page over and you'll have comparables number 4, 5, or 6, or you'd have to scroll all the way down below what's called this signature page, and sometimes appraisers will put it after this page. But generally, if you have 3 comparables, those are going to be on what's called page 2 of the URAR. If we look at page 3, the top of the page allows for some additional comments that the appraiser can write. But towards the bottom of the page, you also have the cost approach. Again, these tabs are on the left-hand side in a dark blue color with white lettering. So the cost approach is towards the middle of the page, with the income approach being just below that. And then if it's in a plan unit development, they have information about that project at the bottom. Now, if you look closely, there's not a lot of space to put information into these fields. It's very basic information. Everything is very condensed. Even if we go back to page 1, there's a whole lot of information that's packed in with not a lot of spacing to explain anything. So a lot of appraisers will refer to a comment addendum. Those can be anywhere from 2 pages to 10 plus pages long, depending on the complexity of the report and depending on how much information the appraiser provides in that report. So the comment addendum is often found after this signature page as well. Each appraiser is going to organize their appraisal in different ways. The first 6 pages are fairly standard, with the varying addendums kind of organized differently from each appraiser. So I'll show you how I organize it so that you have a general idea of where to look for certain items in the appraisal report. So after this signature page, there's an additional comments page that I put there. Anytime you have extra commentary about the sales contract, or the days on the market and the prior listing of the subject property that doesn't fit into those fields on page 1, it automatically populates the information into this additional comments page. After that page, I have what's called the 1004MC. Not every lender requires this page still, but some do. This is the 1004MC stands for Market Conditions Addendum, where you give just this very high level overview of what's happening in the market. It's not the greatest indicator of market conditions, which is why we do a lot more analysis and provide more charts and graphs in our comment addendum, but it's just one piece that some lenders require in the report. After that, I have my comment addendum. My comment addendum is typically around 9 pages long, sometimes a little bit longer. I include a lot of information about how the market's performing, what the highest and best use is of the property, how I selected comparables, how I determined the adjustments for those comparables, and ultimately how I arrived at the opinion of value. We also talk about how much weight is given to each of the approaches that we performed, whether it's the sales comparison approach, the income approach, or the cost approach. And a lot of other supporting information is found in these comment addendums. There's also the location map addendum, where you have the subject property as well as the comparables that are used in the report. You have the aerial map so that you can see what the surrounding properties are like, and if there's any external obsolescence that may be noted or needs to be talked about in the report. There's also the flood map, which says the flood zone for each property, whether it's in flood zone X, AE, or a floodway, or any of that information. The software automatically populates that information in the report for us. Something that I do that not every appraiser includes is the zoning map. And so you want to know what the zoning is of a given property to see if the use that's currently existing is legally allowed or not. We also include our sketch addendum that shows the layout of the house as well as the dimensions used to calculate the total living area of the house. It also calculates any other areas such as covered porches, covered patios, guest houses, workshops, and things like that. Following that, we have the photo addendum. I start out with having photos of the subject property. It's the exterior photos followed by interior photos. Shows any deferred maintenance or any upgrades that have been taking place on the subject property, just to give the client an idea of what that property actually is and what kind of condition it's in, as well as the quality of the materials used to construct the property. After the photos of the subject property come the comparable photos. We take exterior photos of each of our comparables, and as you can see, these are just stock photos that I use just to illustrate the point of using exterior photos of comparable sales so that the lender can see how at least the design, the exterior quality compares to the subject property. And then finally, we have our state certification as well as the definitions that I mentioned earlier. So one thing that we use, maybe jargon you could say, are condition and quality ratings. In the report, we often refer to C1, C2, C3, or Q3, Q4, Q5, things like that. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but if you look at the end of the report, it has the actual definitions that state C referring to the condition and Q referring to the quality. It states what a C2 condition rating is, or a C4, C6, and things like that. And then finally, we use a lot of other terms or abbreviations in the sales grid. A would be adverse if there's an adverse site feature. Or B would be beneficial. Maybe you have frontage along a large lake or a river that typically commands a premium in the market area. You would put B for that location or that view in the report, as well as many other abbreviations that you can go through and read to see exactly what they stand for or what they mean within the appraisal report. Again, this is just a quick overview of what the report is and how it's organized. We're going to do a deeper dive into each section so that you know what kind of information is included in the subject section or the contract section or the neighborhood section, as well as what information we're including in the sales grid and the cost approach and income approaches. We'll cover that in future videos, so stay tuned, and I hope this was informative for you.